Okay. I think I'm live. Just testing this to make sure that I'm live. Just testing this. Let's see. Want to make sure my audio is okay. 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 Testing. Let's see here. Okay. That's me. We're good. Okay, everybody. Bear with me on this. I am not sure I'm going to be able to see you guys' questions as they come in because I'm going to be doing a presentation, and so I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to see them. I'm going to try to do this, and I'm going to try to actually watch my phone as I am going over the presentation. So hopefully I'll be able to do it like that. So let's see. Let's see here. This is a presentation on funnel foundations, and what I wanted to accomplish with this presentation, which I hope is going to be useful for you, even if there aren't people, if you're watching this and you haven't been able to join the live, the purpose of this of this actual video is to create a resource that can be referred upon in the future. So don't worry. If you are watching this and it's not a live version, it's still going to be just as effective and just as useful. And I wanted to cover something called the funnel foundations. Okay, I did a workshop, the funnel launch workshop, last week with a group of very, very ambitious and motivated people that are, many of whom are members of this group. And one of the things that we concentrated on is messaging, okay? There is nothing more powerful for your funnel than messaging. In fact, if you don't have a message for your business, you don't have a funnel. You really don't. And what I wanted to talk about today was the origin. What is the point of origin for you to create an effective funnel? What is that point of origin? One of the things that we concentrated on. Sorry, that's just me talking to myself. And I wanted to cover two topics. Well, one topic, which is branding versus direct response. Now, here in my notes, I was going to ask you guys if someone could type in the comments, what is branding versus direct response? Because I can't see who's on the call or anything like that right now, I'm just going to go ahead and delve deep into this. I'm going to try to refer to my phone, but it's kind of awkward. But the difference between branding and direct response, okay? If you are an expat, if you're an international, if you have a business that caters to international or global clientele, then this is a presentation that is very pertinent. This is something that's very, very useful to you. I live abroad. I live here in Spain. I'm American. But have lived here in Spain for a while. And these are some of the observations that I've noticed, not just with well, lots of times with many of my clients, I build funnels for a living, and so I am a digital marketer, and this is my world. But I've also got lots of friends and lots of contacts and acquaintances that are getting into business for the first time. Lots of them are either consultants, experts in a specific field, coaches, and things like that. And there is a trend that I've noticed, and I want to address the trend. Now, the foundations for any functional marketing campaign need to be measurable. Okay, so if you have a business, if you have some type of service, how you market that service should be measurable. And the biggest mistake is that I notice a lot of people concentrating so much energy into their brand. Okay, the foundations of your marketing should be based on behavior. They should be based on action, and these actions should be driven by desires, fears, objectives, and really the psychology of your ideal client. So this type of mentality is what we call the direct response marketing theory, okay? And direct response marketing is what funnel marketing is based on. So all funnels are going to fall into a combination of a couple, or about 3 different types of categories, because we can use funnels for various functions within our business. The number one function that we can use them for is to generate leads or generate prospects, generate possible clients. So that's one type of funnel. The other type of funnel that we can create is an educational funnel. So we can use funnels to actually educate our leads or our possible clients about our service, about our product, and about what we do, right? Our purpose. And lastly, we can use funnels to actually create sales, right? We can use funnels to sell our service or our product to a prospect or lead, right? And I use the words prospect and lead in this presentation interchangeably, although there are some differences, but for the most part, they're the same. Now, what are the problems that funnels can help you solve? Okay. Well, like I said, I just went into those problems. They can help you generate leads. They can help you generate sales. They can help you educate your clientele or your ideal audience, or they can do a combination of any of the above. They don't need to be specific to one of those purposes. Okay, we can use funnels in combination. So sometimes we might need to educate a client or a prospect before we sell to them. And there's certain types of situations in which we'll do that. And that's what I want to go over today. And this is what I call our funnel framework, right? And these are the 3 components of any type of funnel that we're going to be using. So there are basically, let's say, 3 funnel types and 6 essential funnels. I'm really going to concentrate more on the funnel type and what the purpose is of each of these funnel types rather than the specific funnels within each. But the first type of funnel, like I mentioned before, is a lead generation funnel. This is a funnel that's designed to actually generate possible clients for our business. And the 2 types of funnels that we can use for this are a lead magnet funnel or a survey funnel. Okay, a lead magnet funnel is often a funnel that is like very simple, maybe 1-page PDF, an ebook, something that is very easily consumable by our audience, and something that is very, let's not say educational, but something that's very, very impactful, right? Something that's easy to download and easy to consume and gives a high amount of value. They're generally very easy to produce. It will take some time to produce them, but compared to other types of funnels, a lead magnet funnel is one of the easiest things to do and one of the most recommended. So the second type of classification of funnels is education. And the 2 types of funnels that we can use within an education funnel are a mini class or a webinar. And both the mini class and a webinar serve the same purpose, and that purpose is to actually educate our audience on our service, on the benefits of working with us, on the benefits of our product. So even though the mini class and webinar are two different ways of conducting a funnel, they are both used for the purpose of educating, right? Lastly, we've got the sales funnel. Okay, so we've got lead generation, education, and sales funnel. And a sales funnel is a product funnel or an application funnel. And these are funnels that are done at the very end when someone is about to purchase our product. You can do it sometimes through an application funnel or a product funnel. And I'm going to delve deep into these right now. So the lead magnet, the price point is usually free. If we're going to use a lead magnet, it's going to be very easy to build. It's going to be something that's simple, like I said, a PDF, something that is a guide, quick tips, anything that can be used and be easily consumed by our audience. So that's what a lead magnet is. The best uses for this are to generate quick leads and build goodwill. The way you do that is by creating something that is high value and, like I said, easy to consume. So a lead magnet is the best way to generate leads, but it's not the best way to necessarily get a sale. Right? So we're not going to create a PDF document that says the document is based on you purchasing my $2,000 coaching service. Like, that wouldn't be a good lead magnet to create because we haven't given that goodwill. The goodwill is bringing that high value up front and allowing the value of our own service to be delivered almost free of charge. And the idea behind that is, if you're giving value and continuing to give high value to people that are possible clients of yours or to an audience, then if your free stuff is that good, then your paid service must be outstanding. And that's why you always want to, and it should be that way, you always want to be giving value. And that's what the lead magnet is based upon. Now, I skipped over the education funnel, and I want to talk about sales funnels. So the sales funnel is really a way for you to sell a product. Now, there are certain services or certain products that might not need a lead magnet. They might not need an educational funnel. If your product is socks, okay, or if your product is let's see, a consumer item, e-commerce, anything that requires you to talk about something that you've built, something that is a product, something that is packaged, something that can just be studied and purchased, then a product funnel is what you should use, and it's something that you're probably used to. So you have a sales page where you actually might highlight your product or highlight your service and then talk about all the benefits of the product on that service. And within that same page, you're going to have maybe like a click here to buy now option. And if people click, maybe they'll click and they'll get like an upsell option. Buy this now, include, like, say you're selling some headphones. Well, you know, for $10 more, you'll get some free, like you'll get a headphone case with the headphones, and that will fire that, like that upsell is what we call it, will fire depending on what your actions are before in the funnel, right? And then we'll have an order confirmation once we've input our information into the data form, into the order form, and then we'll get an email saying thank you for your purchase. Okay, this is something that's very, very simple. Now, it's not an easy thing to build. It sounds easy because it's simple, but in order to sell something like this, you need to have something that's very clear and easy to sell. Of course, I say the price point here is low to mid price point from $0 up to maybe $2,000, and this will depend on where you're at, what market you live in, or where you're located internationally. But for the most part, there's a big range of products that you could use to sell within a sales funnel. But some products will require some further education before people get to the actual sale part, right? So the sales funnel is something that's great for products. Something, if you're just going to use a sales funnel and nothing else, then it should be something easy to buy and probably cheap. But if you're going to use a sales funnel to sell something that's expensive, especially if it's a service and not a product, then probably you're going to need something previous to the sales funnel in order to sell your product or your service. You can't just launch your $2,000 or $3,000 let's say consulting or social media management consulting offer in an email or in a PDF. Like, you can't do that. You can, but it's not the best way. And that's why we use funnels, to actually build a relationship with people that we're actually talking to. So educational funnels. Let's talk educational funnels. Educational funnels have generally a low to mid price point. Okay. The problem with educational funnels is that they're generally much more advanced. Okay. As far as the build goes, it takes more expertise to build an educational funnel. If you've ever heard of a webinar or a mini class, they are not easy things. Unless you are a marketing expert, they are oftentimes very difficult to build effectively. The whole purpose of an educational funnel is not just to give a presentation. Of course, you could just give a presentation doing a Facebook Live like me. The whole purpose of the educational funnel is to not only educate, but also to create desire for your service by remarketing the people that actually participate in your presentation or in your educational funnel. So typically the way it works is there'll be some type of registration. People will register and leave their email and the name, and then they'll get an invite to actually participate in the mini class. If it's a mini class, it's a class that will be delivered over the course of between 3 and 5 days, with one class per day. Or if it's a webinar, it'll be a live webinar or a recorded webinar that you'll get access to at a specific time. And then once you get access to that actual event or that online event, you'll watch it. And after you've watched it, you'll get marketed to. You'll get an email that's reminding you, probably thanking you for having participated, and then follow-up emails that emphasize the benefits that you've already learned about within the educational funnel. So this is a funnel that's used to create those relationships that are necessary within the relationships necessary to actually sell your product. Because when we have a funnel, we're talking about relationships. A funnel is nothing if your sole purpose is just to sell something, right? A funnel is used to actually shorten or let's say create a stronger relationship with people that are in your audience. And that is the power of a funnel, right? And we're using an educational funnel to do that, right? We're using an educational funnel not just to educate, but to actually prove our credibility, to build trust. We're doing an educational funnel to do all the things so that later, when someone is presented with our offer, with our actual service with a price on it, we can sell that service more confidently. We can sell that service without having to necessarily have to educate, because they've been educated through our educational funnel. Now, educational funnels are only required if, okay? Now, this is very if. It depends, okay? I say if the price is higher than $500 and you want to get people to buy from an order form. It's not exactly true. It depends on where you are in the world, what your market is, who you cater to, and all of those things. But for the most part, an educational funnel is definitely involved when you need to have some type of education around your offer. Okay? When you need to tell people about what it is you do, how it is you do it for them, and what the benefits they're going to receive you need to have an educational funnel. It's when your offer is something that requires some sort of education, like coaching, for example. Lots of times you'll need a webinar, you'll need a mini class, you'll need something to educate people on what it is you do, because it's not as clear as, for example, I need tax advice. Someone that needs tax advice might not need an educational funnel as much as someone that's like a coach. Now, there are lots of tax consultants, tax advisors, financial consultants, financial coaches that should use an educational funnel, but their sector or their industry it's not as necessary maybe for their product or their service to actually use an educational funnel. So that is the actual the actual funnel framework that you should be using to figure out the exact funnel you need and in what situation you need to use the funnel. There's really no need to use guesswork. If you have a funnel or you have a service, you need to evaluate what service do I need, or what service do I have, and what funnel do I need for what purpose. If your purpose is I need to generate leads, then you should be thinking about a lead generation type of funnel first. If you need to educate those leads, then you should be thinking about also combining that with an educational type funnel. If you are trying to sell a product, then you should be also implementing some type of sales or product funnel. Okay, so there's some instances in which you'll use all three of those funnels together, and there's some instances in which you'll use just a lead generation funnel combined with a sales funnel. It depends on your product. It depends on your market. Okay, and this is when we come back to the differences between branding and the differences between direct response marketing. Okay, and that's why this is so important, because this all comes down to how you are marketing. Now, if you're using funnels, you should be using direct response marketing, because those things go together. But lots and lots of people go wrong, I can't tell you how many, is that they place a unmerited amount of importance on the brand. And the brand can be very, very important, especially if you're a growing company, especially if you're becoming well known. But a brand is not something that, let's get into it. Let's talk about how branding and how direct response marketing affects my niche, which is the expat entrepreneur. So I cater to people that are generally expats. All of my clients are expats or businesses that cater to an international audience. Hands down, that's my niche. And expat entrepreneurs are hyper aware. They're hypersensitive to the power of branding, because they consume more than any other generation of expats or just people in general before them. And they are definitely influenced by what they consume. For many, the reference of marketing that they have is based on things that they are used to consuming. And that's generally brand marketing. Now, brand marketing is the majority of the type of marketing that we see. If you like perfume and you like, if you like things like perfume commercials or drink commercials or beverages or food, you're going to be used to brand marketing. But brand marketing is often futile when you're trying to grow a serious business based around your service from scratch, because we are not Coca-Cola. I am not Coca-Cola. I'm not Subway. I'm not, I'm not Dior. I'm not Giorgio Armani. Now, the type of branding and the type of message that those types of brands convey might be quote unquote effective, but it's not measurable. Okay, now this has lots of implications because expats and international business owners are aware of the opportunities of online business, but they often lack the strategy and the wherewithal to survive the market. So you have lots and lots and lots of expat businesses, lots and lots of expat freelance businesses that too often think that it's going to be their passion and that personal touch that's going to drive the sales, but it's really the opposite. I've seen this too many times. Businesses struggle and then ultimately wonder why their brand or their service isn't taking off. And it's usually because they've been using the wrong approach or the wrong strategy with regards to marketing. So let's talk about the international business owner. Domestic-based companies around the world are exceedingly obtaining international clients and positioning themselves to work across borders. Okay, so global social media networks make obviously reaching your target audience more accessible than ever. So this is a huge benefit to the world that we live in. You can access your audience, I don't want to say with ease, but they are at your fingertips. So you can connect with people that would be interested in your service or product. Now, what are the implications? Yes, it's easier than ever to reach a global audience now. It's easier than ever to create an international business, especially if you're a consultant or if you're a freelancer. But the problem is lots of freelancers and consultants have difficulty honing in on a specific type of audience or on a specific type of buyer persona. And so what they do is they think that they need to cast a wide net of their services to increase their chances of selling or better their chances of selling. Now, according to this Expat Explorer survey, which is conducted by the HSBC, expat entrepreneurs are also likely to move abroad to improve their quality of life. And many people that are expats say that they choose to live abroad in order to grow their business in their adopted country because it was an opportunity for a new life and for a career. I've got some numbers here that speak to the the respondents in this specific survey. So 43% were female, 57% were male. I'm not sure if that's the actual percentages of expat entrepreneurs around the world, but that's the people that responded to this specific survey. We see the age, 44% are people between the ages of 35 and 54, which is huge. It's not just young millennials like everyone thinks. 35 to 54 is the majority of people. Top occupations, now finance, education, IT. Now this also includes people that are employees, not just entrepreneurs. So you have lots of people obviously in the finance area, and then education. Obviously, if you've ever taught English, if you've ever taught your language as a second language abroad, then you know it's no surprise that education is up there along with IT. Now, according to a study that I found, and you can find this if you look it up, you can type in 2019 Fundera study, word of mouth is the top way that the majority of freelancers and full-time entrepreneurs find work. Now, for as long as freelancing has existed, word of mouth has been really the most trustworthy source of work for freelancers. But there is a caveat, okay? While word of mouth is something that's great to strive for, it's something that can really propel your business and make you kind of known within your market. Word of mouth is not a strategy. So word of mouth is something that is difficult to just ignite. It's very, very difficult to use word of mouth as your strategy. So when you do see things like this in a study that says, well, word of mouth is the top way that most people are finding their work, that's great. That's the people that do find work. Well, what about the people that can't find work? What are they doing? They're also relying on word of mouth. There's lots of people that rely on word of mouth that don't find work. And so they're not obviously a part of this 46%. They're part of the other 54%. The 54% of people that are relying on word of mouth but don't have any work. They're part of the 54% of people that are relying on word of mouth and don't have any clients coming in constantly. And so it's important for us to flip this on its head and remember that word of mouth is great and that word of mouth is amazing and that we should be striving to foment word of mouth. But word of mouth is not a strategy. And word of mouth is not something that's going to let's say, ensure the livelihood of your business. So that's really important. And these are mostly freelancers that are in this survey. That means, there's 4.1 million freelancers across the world that identify as digital nomads. And these are people that, live a location independent lifestyle, people that are not dependent on location in order to perform their services or in order to help their clients. Another interesting data point is that 63% of freelancers feel anxious about all they have to accomplish. Now, why would they feel anxious, right? If we have 46% of people that are relying on word of mouth and getting business through word of mouth, then why are 63% of people anxious? Well, that's because lots of people that are freelancers or lots of people that are expat entrepreneurs are starting out as freelancers, are doing work on the side. And so they are overwhelmed with their own jobs. They're overwhelmed with the lack of work on the freelance side or in the gig economy. So you have a lot of people that are international expats, people that work abroad, that are anxious about everything they have to accomplish. Add on to the fact that they're relying on something that is not a proven let's say methodology, such as word of mouth. And of course you have a lot of anxiety because people are not sure where their next client is going to come from. So it's really important that you are really clear about what it is your business does. And I'm gonna delve into that in a little bit. Let's just check here if I have any comments. Doesn't look like it. I think this is the area that my comments appear. Just not sure. I'll just continue onwards. And why is it that expat entrepreneurs and freelancers are anxious? Like I just kind of touched on that, and it's that they right now oftentimes are lacking a plan and a message. Okay, and so as the statistics suggest, most expats are completely reliant on word of mouth with their business. Now, relying on word of mouth with your business is, like I said, a very horrible misstep. And it's something that's perpetuated by all of our favorite brands. Okay, there's a couple things here that we need to remember. Number one is that word of mouth is not trackable. We can't track how word of mouth has spread. Okay, there's no way for us to track it unless we go and just speak to every single person that's ever uttered our business out of their mouth, and that's not feasible, right? You might be able to do it for your first couple clients, right? Oh, this person told this person told this person. But if you got over 20, 30, 40 clients, it's impossible for you to understand how each one of those clients arrived to you, if that's how they arrived to you, through word of mouth. So another thing is that your business and messaging with by using branding is not measurable. Okay, so that's another important thing. Trackable, measurable, very similar things. Also, expats brands use image branding. So all of the brands that you as an expat entrepreneur are used to using and used to consuming, they're using image branding. So what are you going to use when it comes to starting your own business? Lots of times you're going to use the same tactics that you see done with larger companies that but they implement branding, brand imaging marketing. And this is a problem because branding will not generate predictable income or clientele. Now, it does help with what your image is, maybe within your market, but it doesn't help with predictable type of behavior coming from your clients or from anyone that is a prospect of yours. And another problem here is that, freelancers are anxious because the viability of their business is always on the line. So if you are an expat that has just started a business in, let's say, consulting on diversity, or consulting on style, or for consulting on copywriting, or for consulting on, let's see, language, you might always feel like your business is your current client could be your last client. And if you have that fear, you're not alone, because many expat entrepreneurs have this fear. Now, the proposed solution to this is that if you're an expat entrepreneur, if you've got your own business, if you're a freelancer, you should be employing direct response marketing. Okay? I've mentioned this before, but expat entrepreneurs are used to being mass marketed to by large companies. So the actions they take to market, their businesses are based on this brand image. And brand ads differ very differently from direct response ads, in that they don't need to inform, they don't need to educate, and they don't need to build trust. And so if your brand is just based on an image, you're not doing the things that we talked about in the funnel foundations. Like you don't, if you don't have the ability to educate, inform, and build trust, you don't have the ability to create an effective funnel. Okay? Because your funnel is based on those three things. So what is brand advertising? Let's look at this. So Apple, okay? We've got this over here, this MacBook, light years ahead. Okay? Now Apple is notorious for brand advertising. They don't do any type of direct marketing almost ever. A typical ad that Apple does will appeal to their own image and their own brand, because Apple has no need whatsoever to tell you about their products, about what their products do and how you're going to benefit from their products. If you're Apple, you're not like, okay, so if you need to put together a video and create an after action report, our MacBook Pro is the perfect solution for you. They don't use that model because they're a brand that is already very large. Everyone already knows them, and their goal is to inspire you to become part of what they have, like this ecosystem, right? So MacBooks, Apple, they're not using direct response marketing. If you're modeling your marketing off of Apple, and you are a expat entrepreneur, a freelancer, you're doing it wrong. Okay? MacBook does not need to do direct response marketing for the most part, because they are doing something that is applicable to brands that already have a large market presence. Coca-Cola is notorious. Again, Coca-Cola might be the king because Coca-Cola has been around for much, much longer than a MacBook Pro. Everyone knows Coca-Cola, and if you tried to brand yourself like Coca-Cola, it just wouldn't resonate with people. It would not work. It's also just not measurable. Open a Coke, here in the advertisement says, open a Coke, open happiness. If that's your brand, and you are a, let's say, a business coach, trying to say, open a business and open happiness, and that's your brand, that's your tagline, you're not going to be able to sway people to purchase your product or purchase your service with that type of messaging. It's messaging that is exclusively reserved to the brand. Now, you look here, Coca-Cola is not even showing the full product. They're not even showing the full bottle, what the bottle looks like. They're not showing anyone drinking the bottle. It's just a bottle, the name Coca-Cola, open a Coke, open happiness. Okay, completely not measurable. They're not asking anyone to click anywhere. They're just saying open a Coke, open happiness. And they're hoping that this will inspire more people to drink more Coke or have a certain feeling when they drink Coke, right? So Airbnb, again. Now Airbnb is a newer company. You have a company like Airbnb. There's no way a business coach, a marketing consultant, or a language tutor will be able to market their business using messaging like, we imagine a world where you can belong anywhere. Now, Airbnb has done a lot of things. They have gone through lots of angel capital investment rounds. They've gotten investors from all over the world to inject money into their brand. They're trying to puff up the brand so that they get more users that way. Now, you as a solopreneur are not looking for investors. You're not looking to attract multi-million-dollar, injections of capital. You are looking to sell your service, sell your product, sell it directly to someone, and get your message to them about how you can help them. And Airbnb does not do that. Now, if you want to create a nice ad that looks nice, then you should probably be using these different models. Apple is great, Coca-Cola is great, Airbnb is great, and lots of these I guess you want to call them not logos, but the word is like key phrases, or it's escaped me. I kind of had a brain fart right now. But lots of these things look good on a t-shirt, right? Light years ahead. Open a Coke, open happiness. They look great on a t-shirt. They really do. But they're not great for your business. So what distinguishes direct response marketing from something like branding? And I know there's a lot of people and there's a lot of coaches out there that work on branding for people. And it doesn't mean that there's not a market for people that are wanting to concentrate on helping people with their personal brand. I know that's a thing. And I know that there's lots of people that could benefit from a refresh on their personal brand. But what's the difference between a brand, right? A brand image, which is a type of marketing, using brand marketing. And what's the difference between that and direct response marketing? Well, direct response marketing is a branch of marketing that's designed to evoke an immediate response. Okay, we're not looking to evoke an immediate, like some type of emotional feeling that people take home with them and then digest and then, just ruminate on, and then later when they're thinking of, the next language coach they want to hire, or the next language tutor they want to hire, that just comes to their mind like some kind of beautiful inspiration, like Mac would make you believe. That's not how things work. If you are a language tutor or a language specialist and you need language students for your language business, then it's probably best to try to speak to them about what it is you do. I help people improve their language. Click here to find out how, right? Get people to opt into some type of email list. Maybe you're going to have them make a call. Please call now in order to get your free language assessment, for example. Place an order. Free language classes throughout the summer. Click here to sign up. Place an order. Or go to a web page. Click here to find out more. We're asking people to do something very specific. Okay? And that's a different type of message than what we saw here. MacBook, light years ahead. I'm not asking you to do anything. Coca-Cola, open a Coke, open happiness. I'm not asking you to do anything. Okay? You're not going to receive if you do not ask. And I know that it's something that goes against what we are trained to do as human beings. For the most part, we are conditioned to want to be self-sufficient and not ask for anything. But if you're going to be a salesperson, if you're going to have a business, first of all, you have to recognize that you have to sell. You have to sell if you're going to be a business person. And in order to sell, that requires you to ask people for the sell. So you cannot rely on branding in order to sell your product. Now, you can use branding in combination with direct response marketing and maybe get some amazing results. I'm not saying that you should throw away brand marketing. What I am saying is that branding is not the same as selling. And if you're going to sell and your goal is to sell your product, to sell your service, you need to seriously think about how you are messaging and how you are presenting your message to your prospective clients. Now, let's look at some examples of advertisements of brands that are using direct response marketing. Let's do that. So look at this ad from Lyft. It says, make up to $1,500 per week with Lyft. Be your own boss, drive with Lyft. Now, this was an ad that was taken directly off of, I think it was Google, might have been Google or Facebook. Can't remember exactly. But the whole thing is, they're speaking first of all to people that own a car, that drive, and that want to be their own boss. And in order to start, if you want to be your own boss, drive with Lyft. Click here. Okay? We don't see that type of messaging come from places like Apple, Coca-Cola. We don't say, if you want to be your own boss, buy a Mac. Click here. Like that's not the type of messaging that Mac ever goes for. Apple never goes for this type of messaging because they're doing something different, right? Their whole purpose is something different, and they're also massive. They're very massive. So look at this ad from GigRove. So GigRove is a space where you can actually, it's a community of freelancers that help each other get different gigs around the world. So it says, use your freelancing skills to travel. Join our community of startup hosts and traveling freelancers. Why is this direct response? Because it says you can do this with us. Okay, you can use your skills to travel, and then it's giving you a clear call to action. Join our community. Click here. Okay, there's a huge difference in using an ad or some type of messaging. Now, I don't want to concentrate on ads because we're not talking about ads. You might not be in the space right now to be able to afford ad spend, create ad campaigns, or anything like that right now. But what you should be concentrating on with these examples is the messaging. What is the messaging of your business? Another one, Express Writers. So this is a banner from Express Writers. They do content marketing. They do all types of copywriting and all this type of stuff. Now, look at this ad. It says, need great content for your marketing? Let our strategic team serve you. It sounds super simple. It sounds like something that a local business would use, because it is what a local business would use. And then they say expresswriters.com/content shop. Click here. Okay? This is an ad that is clear with its purpose. It's clear with its messaging. It's not trying to be, Express Writers, inspiring passion. Like they're not talking about the passion they inspire. They're not talking about eat, love, pray. They're not talking about any of those things. They're talking about the service that they provide. We do great content marketing. Do you need us? Let us help you. Click here to get started. Okay? There is science to it. But it's important that you as an entrepreneur, you as an expat, understand that you need to speak the language of the people that are interested in your services. You don't need to force people to speak your language. I know that if you're a coach, if you are a consultant, you're probably passionate about your job. You're probably passionate about a lot of the things that you do. But saying things like, I live with my passion, or I do something with my passion, might not inspire people to actually go work with you, right? People need logical solutions to the problems that they have in their head, okay? And they respond in a very visceral way to that. And so that's the reason that we should opt for direct response marketing. That's the reason why we should try to be direct with our messaging. So direct response marketing continued. Now, direct response marketing, again, is exactly what you should be doing as an expat entrepreneur. Okay, you should be crafting a clear message about the benefits of your service, repurposing that message in your conversations, online, offline, in your posts, on your profiles, and within your advertising campaigns if you're doing them. The important thing is that you're doing that. The important thing is not to look for likes, not to look for comments, that's not what we're looking for. Okay, by you creating a message that resonates with people, you want them to take action with you, and maybe that action will come a little bit later down the line. But lots of times with brand marketing, what we're looking for and what people are looking for with brand marketing happens to be likes. Likes. It's not a good thing to aspire to. Likes, comments, smiley faces, hearts, all of those things are not anything that that you should be aspiring to as someone that owns a business abroad. And if you're an expat, it's probably going to be something that looks like a freelance business, something that's something based on consulting or your expertise. Let's see. I've got, oh look, I finally see, I think I see people. I'm going to wave here. Hey everybody. Let me see if I can see who is... I don't know. I think there's people watching. I'm a little confused, but I'm just going to keep going through this. So 46% of freelancers are not using direct response marketing tactics. That's huge. That's huge. Why aren't you using direct response marketing tactics? You need to be using direct response marketing tactics, because if you're not getting your product, your service shown. People just aren't interested. That means there's at least 2 million digital nomads around the world that are not marketing correctly. Okay, this is based off the 4.1 million that I mentioned before. There's 4.1 million freelancers in the world that identify as digital nomads. That means 2 million of them are not marketing correctly. Now, you don't have to be a marketer in order to market. Okay, you need to just be able to recognize these things that I'm talking about in order to build the foundations for your funnel. And that's why this all relates. Okay, this is very related to your funnel. 63% of expats, entrepreneurs, are worried or anxious about their work. Of course they are. Like I talked about before. They're anxious because they don't know when their next client's going to come in. They're anxious because they've been working with clients, and then the current client that they're working on, they don't know if that's going to be the last client. So you've got lots of expat entrepreneurs around the world that are doing great work, but because of their lack of systemic thinking, their lack of thinking in systemic messages that will create constant flows of leads or constant flows of prospects, they're anxious and worried. They're anxious and worried that they're not going to get continuous clients. So what does direct marketing have to do with funnels? Now, I said if your messaging is not clear, concise, and inspiring a call to action, a funnel is virtually useless. Because the difference between, like I said, live your life with passion, and I'm sorry I'm saying it like that, but that's how I imagine it said to me whenever I hear that thing, or whenever I see a coach that says, live your life with passion, as like their call to action, I get annoyed. I visibly get shaken and annoyed. Look at the difference between a message like live your life with passion and schedule an appointment and I'll help you get paid to do what you love. Now, which of those two messages do you think is going to resonate with someone that's interested in getting paid to do what they love? Who do you think is going to click and call you about your services that's interested in starting a business based around their own passion? Is it going to be option A, live your life with passion, or schedule an appointment and I'll help you get paid to do what you love? The second option is so clear. It's concise. It tells people exactly what you help them with. And so then when they click and we give them the opportunity to work with us, to take action, we know exactly why they're doing it. We know why they're doing it, because they've resonated with our message. So living your life with passion is something that anybody could do. right? Anybody can live their life with passion, like anybody. So it's just not effective. And so this is why funnels and direct marketing go hand in hand, because if we're getting people to schedule an appointment, we can do that on a page. We can do that with our messaging on a web page. Click here, schedule this appointment. Guess what? I've got a nice calendar. Select your date, select your time. Okay, let's get it done next week on July 15th or on July 30th at 10 a.m. You have now created something based off of a simple message. Schedule an appointment here to get paid to do what you love. You've created a message that's easily trackable. Something that's where the funnel will start. Click, and let's get started. Now, again, live your life with passion. If you get someone that wants to schedule a meeting based off of living their life with passion, you're going to get a lot of people that might be living their life with passion, but they might not be wanting to start a business and get paid to do what they love, right? So you've got to understand who your target market is, and exactly how you're going to, market to those people. Now, how do I start with direct marketing? So the first thing you need to do is you need to craft an I help statement. The best way to do that is this simple thing. Now, if you're advanced business, if you've been in business for a while, you're a consultant, you might be some type of expert in your field. This I help statement is going to be very, something that you've probably already seen. You might actually already have an I help statement, but this is how you start with direct marketing. You need to identify number one, who is it you're trying to help? That's the first thing. Number two, what is it that your audience wants to achieve? What is the desire they want to achieve? Or what is the pain point that they want to overcome? Okay. Now, once you have those two things, then you can use your service as the bridge between the audience and their desired situation, right? You have an audience that's in a current situation, and they have a desired situation. Well, your business is the bridge between those two things, between where they are and where they want to be. And so having an I help statement will help you immensely with your digital marketing, okay? And it should contain all of these elements. It's very, very important. Rashal, what's up, my man? It should contain all of these things. If it doesn't contain these three elements, then it's not an effective I help statement. If your I help statement is I build or I create resumes for people, like I create resumes for people, is not an I help statement. Okay, you need to zoom in on your audience. Who is it that you help create resumes for? What is it that those people are wanting to achieve? Or what is the thing that they're wanting to overcome? And then how does your service do that? Like, they could write their own resume. Like, how does your service differ from anyone else's? You need to concentrate on all of these things, on all three things with your marketing, because this is the base of everything else that comes. When you see people writing out nice posts and great content marketing on their Facebook or on their LinkedIn, where's the origin? What's the origin story? It's this help statement. It's the help statement that allows them to be able to create more content based off of these three things. Because once you know your audience, once you know what their desires or their pain points are, and once you know exactly what your offer is, your service, you can use those three things in many different ways, repurposed, in order to help people. So a good example of an I help statement. So I help expat and international entrepreneurs transform their websites into their business's most powerful tool to generate clients through funnel marketing strategies. That's the long version. I've got a short version, I've got a long version, but I know the most important thing is I know who I'm helping and I know how to adjust my message correctly based on the situation. You can use the I help statement in conversations with people. You can use the I help statement on your Facebook page. You can use the I help statement on your Instagram. At Christmas time around the dinner table, with your uncle who has someone that's interested in creating funnels. I've literally gotten clients that way by talking to people about my I help statement, and they say, "Oh, that is interesting. I know someone." Right? It's a great way for you to be able to conceptualize your existence as a business into one sentence, right? Rather than you take 5 minutes to explain what it is the hell that you do, create an I help statement and craft it so that it's effective, it's to the point, and it's clear and concise. And if you can memorize that clear and concise statement, the next time someone asks you what you do, you tell them right there, this is what I do. I help boom, boom, boom. Because we live in a very fast-paced world, and I know it's a cliche, but people ain't got time for that. You've got to get to the point with people. You've got to get you've got to be direct. And that's the reason why it's called direct response marketing. Now, direct response marketing, like I said, this is, I have an I help statement. Now, what will help you to be able to get more clients, to be able to define your own business? Okay, like I said, using altered versions of your statement everywhere across, in person, offline, online, everywhere. Now, where does this come from? Well, direct response, I'm not just making direct response marketing up, okay? What many people consider to be the king of direct response marketing is David Ogilvy. David Ogilvy is the founder of Ogilvy and Mathers, one of the biggest and most renowned ad agencies in the world. Like these are some of the top ad agencies that are in existence. And David Ogilvy is one of the founders, I guess, of the belief in and the importance placed on direct response marketing. They started in newspaper ads. Then it went into radio. Then it went into television. But direct response marketing is an old art form, but it's an art form. It's something that you should really heavily investigate. If you don't have this book, I highly recommend it. Ogilvy on Advertising. I've read it all. You need to get a handle on what types of things resonate with your market, and these are the types of advertising, and this is the type of mentality you need in order to succeed as an expat consultant, as an expat entrepreneur. So I highly recommend you guys just type in David Ogilvy direct response on YouTube, and you'll be able to see this video. I'm also going to I'm going to upload this presentation up to the group. So if people would like to have this presentation for themselves, you can click on it and actually watch the actual. It's an old video from the 60s, but it's so powerful. I highly recommend everyone else to watch this video. Now, I can also share resources on direct response copywriting and headline creation that might help you with your business. So just be sure to ask. That's what the group is here for. It's here for to be a support network. I'm not looking for massive amounts of views, massive amounts of people, I'm not looking for any of that. What people should be here for is for value and for resources. If you're in this group international funnel community. It's the reason why I want you here. I don't want people here because I want to puff my feathers and get a whole bunch of people that are liking and commenting. I want to create useful content that people will be able to use further down on the line. You know, people that didn't make the presentation today, that tomorrow will be able to use it, and maybe the next day, and maybe the next day, and maybe next week. So it's a long game here, and that's the way that everyone should be thinking about their business. So if you need anything, have any questions about resources, anything at all, just ask. Now, we've got a sponsor for today's event. We're sponsored by Croissant Co-working. Croissant is a co-working app that has a network of hundreds of different co-working spaces around the globe, and that when you sign up with their app, you get access to any of their world locations. I'm not going to name their competition, but they've got plenty of places that are, it's basically like Uber for your co-working spaces anywhere you go. Now, we've got a prize to give away, and it is a 40 hours of co-working on the Croissant app. So without having to pay anything, you'll receive the 40 hours. You'll just have to I'll set you up with the contact. You'll give them your information, and then you'll download the app, and you'll be able to use those hours wherever Croissant is present in I think in like 80 different countries or something like that around the world. So it's a great app, and the only way to be eligible for this is to answer this one question. Now, we'll see if there's any people participating. I see here on my phone, it looks like I have 3 people. And if you're watching now, the question is, describe the difference between branding and direct response marketing. Okay? So the first person that posts a comment with the correct response will be the winner. And it doesn't have to be live, so if no one responds now, that's fine. But I will check the responses, and the first correct response I see will get the prize today, which is 40 hours of co-working through our wonderful sponsor, Croissant. So much appreciated, everybody. We're just hitting the 1 hour mark now, and we will be in touch. So thank you, everybody. We'll talk soon. All right.